Magnus King's lightning explained its conditions medium and shock value explain IRS curvature BD the path it takes where it gets its Q20241213-2118003.png formed in the dark clouds of Morgan and Magnus is a powerful shock lightning that is obtainable through a breathing method in that planet's temple. It is literally a condensed flood of sky in bolt form as a standard. Carries a sequence of its own. It may once controlled bodily become a form of invisible force with a stronger range, a distance. Force that was once lightning, moving mostly in force and having curvatures it likes to stay airborne and once strikes does not produce fire. This is because its content does not cause the plasma to coagulate upon object contact. Summary Magnus is self-aware and while overlooked has a long history of being etherically there are keen bodily measures be aware of when dealing with harnessing its power that might be done indoors. Some lords have sought its assistance and perished in the challenge of seeking to subdue it. It cannot be suited by will. You must nullify with it to return its knowledge. It is said that Magnus once changed planets as it struck the atmosphere of a different planet during collapse event. This feat is somewhat unusual for a lightning to knowingly change sphere in its uniqueness on its own. In some sense Magnus is right there with the bolts produced by stars. Eventually some lords gather it into canisters specially made and brought to be converted. Magnus continues to dominate the skies making its mark almost coming a lean into a living human form. Electrified. It seeks to find answers to the force present on both of its worlds including Civitern. The streaks seem sharper, the bolts purer somehow. Wind does not interfere and the clouds are coherent. Magnus has become an entity of the force, a living embodiment of what so many JEI and Sith failed to go become one with the force, melting, forming and changing world and shape frequently. Returning to the double spheres whence it came, it does not duplicate or limit itself on planets whose atmospheres are still very infant, where areas do not make for bolt activity. Magnus, and may arrive in body form to understand mineral and air reactions. Needlessly acting most whole harness it are not aware of its self-assumed shape and never witness the strangely attuned intellect. Magnus is highly active and aware of nerve conditions, especially upon touch. There are hints that each electric shock has in order to make Magnus culpable with a person's coordination. It will affect the psyche a lot, testing individual willpower before allowing it to be handled unreadily. It does not bode well with other lights and electric forms. It is too strong to be engineered into AI and too voltaic to act as energy for jets. This may be because of the Empire's favor of standard electricity or because of the rare presence each lightning form has, as it is mostly only attributed to designated planets. Consistent with the way Magnus. There are occurrences where bases are said to have experienced abrupt shutdowns due to strike by Magnus. Systems and communication had to be rebooted. The immensity of the energy transfer is phenomenal, while the curving strands of Magnus tend to remain thinner. The bolts present are not lacking and cause a surge of tidal power. This could be because of the intelligence in the reed involved in the bolts. They seem to know where and when to strike, asking other planetary lightnings and taking the place of usual thunder. Does the Magnus even rely on cloud? Not really. In a sense it is a breakaway or deviation and finds molecular density where to generate itself, disguising itself near ordinary storms and finding or making paths of its own. Most Empire officers or Sith would not know this, and not expect such direct precision out of a thing usually classified as natural phenomenon. It is not at borders on the psyche and seeks to exist in places where the ecosystem has only willing self-sustenance. The extent of its territory is unlimited. Though Civitern is listed as the world of origin, it may be debated that there were 3 spheres where it came into being, not acquiring a body until much later years, almost what humans experience as eonic lengths of time. This may be because of the surrounding supernature that tested its metal, constantly molding and sculpting it into newness. The structure remains consistent, yet it is always making itself more so of a greater force breaking down barriers, absorbing fields there, flushing smaller cloud electricity to gain path. In this way it becomes truly Magnus. It beacons to the practitioner or adept and seeks the psyche that is keen enough to strangle its bolts. The essence and feeling is always a very particular signature of energy coveted by those who have witnessed such spectacular motion, known only to those observant enough to attract. Without knowing this, the Sith only employed it as a bolt, not remembering that it could be duplicated and sent out in bodily form. This may have been a mark of deliberate deception against the Sith in order to protect its path of evolution, retaining the form while seeking to understand the full intention of the Empire.